A government accountant. A single keystroke. $1 billion vanished into thin air. No guns, no violence. Not even a single dollar bill touched. And for 7 years, nobody knew. This is the story of the man who found a ghost in the machine. 2009. Deep inside a federal processing center in Maryland, millions of financial transactions flow through outdated computer systems every single day. Tax refunds, social security payments, government contracts. It's all automated. It's all supposed to be secure. But buried somewhere in 47 million lines of code, there's a flaw. A tiny, invisible crack in the system. And one man is about to find it. His name was Marcus Webb, a mid-level accountant who'd worked in government finance for 19 years. Unremarkable, invisible, until he wasn't. It starts in March 2009. Marcus is running a routine audit when he notices something strange. A payment gets processed twice. Same amount, same recipient. But only one shows up in the daily reconciliation report. He flags it, sends it up the chain. But here's the thing. The duplicate disappears before anyone else can see it. Like it never existed. Most people would have shrugged it off. A computer glitch. Marcus couldn't let it go. He starts digging, running test transactions after hours. Small amounts. A few cents here and there. And that's when he discovers it. There's a 3-second window during system backup where transactions can be initiated but not logged. 3 seconds. Every night at 2:47 a.m. By June, Marcus isn't just testing anymore. He's moving money. Not to himself, not directly. That would be too obvious. Instead, he creates ghost accounts. Fake LLCs. Shell companies. With real-looking names and tax IDs. The money flows in tiny increments. Never more than $8,700 per transfer. Just below the federal reporting threshold. And here's the genius part. The money doesn't vanish. It just pauses. Suspended in digital limbo before being rerouted through a maze of international transfers. By the time it lands in an actual account, it's been washed through 12 countries and looks completely legitimate. By 2012, Marcus Webb has stolen over $340 million. And nobody knows. Not his wife, not his co-workers, not a single algorithm designed to catch this exact kind of fraud. But the number keeps climbing. And Marcus, he can't stop. It takes until 2016 for anyone to notice. And even then, it's not the FBI. It's not the Treasury Department. It's a junior analyst named Priya Chandran doing a deep audit on legacy systems. She's looking for wasteful spending, not theft. But she finds a pattern. Thousands of microtransactions that should have been logged but weren't. She raises the alarm. But here's where it gets complicated. The transactions technically did go through the system, They're just invisible. The agencies involved assume it's a reporting error, a software bug, nothing criminal. Priya doesn't buy it. She starts tracing the accounts. Fake LLCs, sure, but they're good fakes. Registered addresses, tax filings, even business websites. Whoever did this wasn't some hacker in a basement. They understood the system from the inside. Then comes the breakthrough. Priya finds the 3-second window. She runs a diagnostic and discovers something nobody expected. The glitch wasn't intentional. It was an accident, a coding error made 20 years earlier by a programmer named Daniel Kovacs, who died in 2004. His patch to fix a Y2K bug inadvertently created a tiny loophole, a ghost in the machine. But if the glitch was accidental, how did Marcus find it? That's the question that haunts investigators. Because here's the thing. Daniel Kovacs' code was never publicly documented. The only people who would have known about it were the handful of engineers who worked on that system in the late 90s. And Marcus Webb, he wasn't one of them. The FBI digs deeper. They find Marcus's search history, years of late-night research into legacy banking code, federal transaction protocols, even obscure programming forums. He taught himself from scratch, obsessively. But the real twist, Marcus wasn't even good with computers before 2009. His performance reviews describe him as technologically challenged. Something changed. Something pushed him to learn. In August 2016, agents raid Marcus's home. They find 3 external hard drives, encrypted files, and a handwritten journal. The journal is meticulous. Every transaction, every transfer, every ghost account. But the final entry, dated March 14th, 2016, just says, "They're going to find out. I always knew they would." By the time they track down the final accounts, the total is staggering. $1.03 billion, stolen over 7 years, spread across 147 shell companies in 19 countries. And Marcus Webb, he's gone. His car is in the driveway. His phone is on the kitchen counter. His passport is in a drawer. But Marcus himself vanished. 3 weeks after the raid, a package arrives at the FBI field office in Baltimore. No return address. Inside, a USB drive and a handwritten note. The note reads, "I didn't keep it." The USB contains access codes to every account Marcus created. Every shell company. Every offshore transfer. And when investigators trace them all, they find something nobody expected. The money is still there. Almost all of it. $1.03 billion, sitting untouched in dozens of frozen accounts. Marcus didn't spend it. He didn't run. He just stopped. But here's where the story takes its darkest turn. Buried in the encrypted files on that USB is a folder labeled Y. Inside, medical records. Marcus's daughter, Emma, was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder in 2008. Treatment cost $400,000 per year. Insurance denied the claim. experimental therapies weren't covered. The family was drowning in debt. Marcus didn't steal the money for greed. He stole it because he was desperate. But somewhere along the way, the theft became something else. An obsession. A test of how far he could go. He kept meticulous records because he wanted to be caught. He wanted someone to see what he'd done, to acknowledge that he'd outsmarted an entire system. The FBI follows the trail. They trace his movements. Security footage from March 15th, 2016, shows Marcus boarding a bus in Baltimore. He rides it to the end of the line, a small town in West Virginia. From there, the trail goes cold. But 6 months later, a park ranger in the Appalachian Mountains finds a tent. Inside, Marcus Webb's ID, a wallet with $43 in cash, and a final note. This one's different. It's not for the FBI. It's for Emma. I'm sorry I couldn't fix it the right way, but I tried. I need you to know I tried. Marcus's body is never found. Search teams comb the mountains for weeks. Nothing. Some investigators believe he's still out there, living off the grid. Others think he didn't survive the wilderness. But the truth, nobody knows. The $1 billion is seized by the federal government and quietly redistributed. Emma Webb receives a settlement, enough to cover her medical care for life. The case is officially closed in 2018. But here's the final twist. In 2019, a security researcher discovers that the 3-second loophole, it's still there. The system was never fully patched. And buried in the government's audit report is a single line that changes everything. Potential for replication high. Someone, somewhere, could do it again. And maybe they already have. Did Marcus Webb die in those mountains? Or did he find a way to disappear completely? The FBI says the case is closed, but that 3-second window, it's still open. And if one desperate man could steal $1 billion without anyone noticing, who's to say it isn't happening right now?